Hey everybody, it's Cynthia. I'm doing a Marry Me Chicken recipe review today. The original recipe called for a tablespoon of olive oil. I don't think I've ever used a tablespoon of olive oil in my life, so I just dumped some in the pan. And then I have 4 chicken breasts that I seasoned with salt and pepper, and I'm gonna sear those, and that'll take a little bit of time here, and I'll cut out some of the process in the middle so it doesn't take forever on the video. The recipe that I'm using is from Healthy Little Peach, and there's a couple things that I changed and noticed in the recipe, but we absolutely loved this, so I wanted to make sure and share it with you guys. It's the first recipe that I'm sharing in my Alpha-gal Keto series, so I'm pretty excited about that. I cooked the chicken until it was pretty on one side, move it around in the pan a little bit to get it evenly browned. I think this probably took about 5 or 6 minutes before I flipped it over. I flipped the chicken off camera and I'm just gonna cover it and let it sit for a little bit until it comes up to temp. I usually cook it to about 160 and then take it out of the pan, and it finishes that last 5 degrees on its own. Please do whatever works for you to cook your chicken safely. It seems to vary for me between appliances and methods, so I just have this figured out for my skillet, and that's what I do. Now that these are at the right temperature, I'm going to take them out of the pan and put them on a plate. And then I'll take another plate and invert it over the top so that they stay warm while I go through the next steps. I'm going to speed up the video here because watching butter melt, in my opinion, is only slightly more exciting than waiting for water to boil. So that was about a tablespoon of vegan butter and minced garlic, some sliced green onions, some crushed red pepper, and some oregano, and then stir that around a little bit. It's going to smell really good after about 30 seconds to a minute. I sped up this part of the video. I probably cooked and stirred for about 2 or 3 minutes at the most. This is chicken broth, and I will put a link to this in the description. This is coconut milk that does not have any gums in it, and I'll put a link to that in the description as well. If you're doing strict keto, you might want to use less of the sun-dried tomatoes than their recipe calls for. The last sauce ingredient listed in their recipe is nutritional yeast. So we're going to add that and mix this in real good. And then the next thing we're going to do is the cornstarch slurry. And I glanced through the recipe page and could not find the amount that they recommended using for this. So I just made up about a tablespoon and a half with some water. And I think that was a little bit too much. You'll see my sauce gets a little bit too thick. I'm gonna speed up the video again here while I thicken up the sauce. And then we're gonna put the chicken back in here in just a minute after I get the sauce too thick. So I put the chicken back in the pan, and then I covered it up with some of the sauce, and then I put the lid back on it and just let it sit there for a little bit while I got the rest of the meal ready. This really does make a pretty dish, even though my sauce was a little bit thick. We opted to serve it over cauliflower rice with some green beans on the side and keep it fairly low carb. Since this was a recipe review, I want to give a shout out to Healthy Little Peach, and I will put a link to their blog post with the full recipe in the description. Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe for more recipes. Have a great day.